TitleMatchNetwork.com.
I went to Japan in '87.
Probably for who? Do you
New
remember?
Japan.
Okay.
I was probably way too green when I went over there. I kind of bolted my way over, and probably hurt me more than helped me at the time because I really didn't have many matches out of wrestling school. Anyway, I went over there and it ended up being a 6.5-week tour. Well, I was there with Owen, Vader, Bob Orton. There were a bunch of Steve Williams.
Wow.
There were a lot of good guys on the trip. Now that was 21 years ago.
Yeah.
And Owen was up there, and he was trying to explain some psychology to me off and on different nights too. And I said, "What do you think I should do?" He goes, "I think you should go to Stampede and wrestle for my dad's league. They wrestle every day of the year." He goes, "That's where you learn." So when I got back to the States from Japan, I stayed in contact with him. He talked to his dad, and I flew up there. Well, then after that, that's where you learn to work. When you wrestle 20 minutes a night, sometimes twice a night for a year, every single day, and there's guys up there that could work. Yeah, that's where you learn.
Wow. Can you tell the story about bulleting your way into New Japan?
Well, I would just say kind of embellished a bit of my resume and things like that. I mean, back then I probably weighed 270, 275, or just bigger. Even once I turned 19, my lowest body weight was usually around 265.
Wow.
Just eating and lifting. If I actually just trained heavier and ate a lot more, I was like 275 and 280.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my size at that time helped me, get over there. And I mean, I could move pretty well with the moves and things like that, but my psychology was just pretty much non-existent from having 20 matches or something out of wrestling school, 30 matches, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what hurt me over there. But that's it for that.
Yeah. Okay. Was Owen a ribber even in Stampede?
Owen's the biggest ribber I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
His picture should be in the dictionary next to the word rib because there's nobody like him.
Yeah. What was your favorite Owen rib? Whether it's there, Titan.
Well, all right. I can go on and on with Owen. One time when we were in Japan, I could go on. I'm just thinking way back.
Yeah.
We were in Japan, and I think we were on the 8th or 9th floor, and Owen, screwing around, brought the fire extinguisher over, and he was trying to shoot it underneath my door just to mess with me.
Yeah.
The handle got stuck, and the thing just kept emptying its entire contents. Well, I heard Owen yelling out in the hall. I opened my door, and it's one of those extinguishers that's sucking the oxygen out of the air.
Uh-huh.
So the faster this thing spews, the less you can breathe. And it's filling the entire hallway with this white mist, and now I can't breathe. Owen goes running back to his room. I close the door to my room, and it's taking my breath now.
Sure.
So I open my window and stick my head out. And just as I stick my head out, I look down, and I mean, as far as you can see, every room has a head sticking out the window. Every Japanese person in that hotel was gasping for air on that floor. Now, it's pretty sick because, you can't breathe, but I was dying.
Yeah.
And then I put a towel over my face, went to the door, opened the door, and the extinguisher shut off finally because the entire thing emptied. And I saw Owen's footprints going to his room. So I call him. I go, "Owen, your footprints are going right to your own door." Well, he comes flying out in the hall with his face covered, grabs a towel, and he's waving the towel like this, trying to cover his footprints. As soon as he got in, closed his door, and I closed mine, you could see the lights on the elevator coming up. You knew it was all the security.
Yeah.
Well, they blamed me for a while, then they blamed this other guy for a while, and then they didn't want to blame Owen. I'd been going over there for a couple of years. They didn't think it was him.
Yeah.
Although he wasn't doing it to people in the hotel. He was trying just to rib me, and it ended up ribbing everybody on the whole floor.
Yeah.
But that was a classic because you couldn't breathe up there for a while.
Wow.
I mean, that was just one of them.
Yeah.
Owen and I had some good matches.
Yeah.
No, I thought we had some decent angles, some funny angles with him doing the Blue Blazer gimmick and stuff like that. We worked angles for a few months. Never forget one time in Boston we did this thing and he didn't duck. I kicked him right in the jaw, knocked him out cold in front of the whole arena. I mean, he was out like a light.
Wow.
And it was like, oh man. And I'll never forget that because they kept asking him his name and address in the hospital. He couldn't think clearly for about 3 days. And for months, he goes, "Steve, you owe me for 3 days of my life." Because he couldn't remember anything clearly for 3 days. I'm like, I apologized to him. Well, he knew it was an accident.
Yeah.
But he used to bust my balls bad about that.
Did he ever rib you in the middle of a match somewhere?
Well, he ribbed everybody.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't want to give a lot of it away, but he would always be ribbing people in matches, during matches. Like some guys that are just like new and don't know how to work matches properly. I have seen Owen run him off the ropes and be like, they would duck an elbow, duck a clothesline. He'll leap them. He'll drop down. He would just keep doing that till they were so gassed they couldn't move. They don't even pick up on what he's doing. There was always some way for him to rib someone. Always.
Yeah. Would he try and gas you?
Something I didn't mind running like that in the ring. I actually liked sprinting. I think I would have run as much as he wanted me to. I liked working my wind when I was out there. But some of the guys that are really huge, you run the rope so many times, it gasses you no matter what size you are. But when you keep doing it when you're a 350-pound guy, it'll gas you.
What are your memories of Stu?
Oh, I mean, there was no BS in Stu. I mean, he was just a direct forward guy, which I like because I'm direct. If you like what I'm doing, tell me, that's fine. If you don't like it, you're not going to offend me one way or another. Just tell me exactly what you want, and we'll go from there. But, Stu used to just try to, he used to run that, business up there. His kids pretty much ran it, and he oversaw it. Yeah. Stu just seemed like he was a hardcore guy at 75 years old.
Wow.
So, I mean, I just never saw any, softness in that guy. He just seemed hard the whole time.
Did he take you into the dungeon?
I mean, I've been in there now. Yeah. Benoit and Pillman, those guys spent a little more time down there than I did. But I've been to Stu's house many times, and I've been in the basement.
Yeah.
But some of the other younger guys used to stretch down there.
Yeah. Did he try and stretch you early on just to test you a bit, or no? Any good Stu stories? I mean, all the guys have a good Stu Hart story that's out there.
I spent a long time on the road in Calgary. I could tell you a story for every day of the road. Every day that we were up there. Because when I was up there, 6 months of the time I was up there, the Bulldog and Dynamite were back in Stampede because they took some time off from fighting. Okay. They were up there. Brian Pillman was up there. Biff Wellington, Chris Benoit, DeSalvo, Norman the Lunatic, Mike Shaw. I mean, we had a pretty good crew up there.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of crazy guys and there were a lot of crazy stories. But I know that one time we had a guy on the crew that just seemed to be, every time we did something on the road, it seemed to get back to Stu.
Yeah.
Well, Benoit could talk exactly like Owen's dad. I mean, just like, hey, that goddamn kid. I mean, he could just imitate him to a T. So we'd have him call these guys' rooms and imitate Stu's voice to find out if they were snitching. When we found out who the snitch was, well, then we did so much stuff to the guy, we drove him nuts. Well, when we got home, Stu went nuts. He found out what had happened and stuff, and he came in yelling, and you couldn't help but laugh because all you're picturing is the voice Benoit just did. Now Stu's yelling that same voice about this thing, and one of the promoters up there, every time we'd wrestle in Stampede, and this used to drive me nuts. We would start in the closest city on a Sunday or Monday, and then get further and further away through the week. Well, Friday we'd have to be back in Calgary for TV, so these morons would have us 10, 12 hours away. Well, you're done with the show at 10 o'clock at night. You're getting home at 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning, and they want you at TV at noon. For months, I told this guy, who's a crack addict running this? Start us in the furthest town and bring us back.
Exactly.
I said, what are you guys missing here? Well, he thought it was a joke until, every time we were away, some of the guys would just kick out his headlights. They'd slice his tires. They'd break his wiper blades off, kick out his machine, whatever.
Yeah.
We used to get home, and he always called Bulldog to leave these messages on his machine because he didn't know who else to bitch at,
Yeah.
And every time we get home, Dave would play those things. We'd listen to him and hear Stu, what's going on? God damn it. Dave kicked out his headlights. It was great. He'd go nuts, but it was always Stu yelling about something, from the guys acting up on the road or guys got in a fight in a bar. And we got kicked out of about 30 hotels in Canada because the guys were always doing stupid stuff.
Wow.
I mean, I've seen guys punching holes through walls down the hallway so they could pass beers through the wall instead of walking down the hall. I've seen guys crap in the swimming pool in the hotel and they had to kick, make people leave. I have seen it all up there.
Yeah.
And every time you get home, Stu would be bitching up a storm. So it was entertaining.
Wow. Were you there? We've heard the story a couple of times. One time some guys came into a bathroom or something to attack Pillman. There was something like 5 guys or something. He wound up taking them all out.
Well, there were different. I don't know about that exact story. Just out of curiosity, where did you get that information?
Kim Woods. Do you know Kim?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if it was the bathroom. I recall some of the ones we were up there. I know one time we were walking into a place and a bunch of hockey players were passing by. And I was the last one coming in the door, and I saw Wellington, Benoit, and Pillman. And I saw guys getting tackled up there by the hockey team, and I came flying up and started dropping guys with them.
Wow.
But that was one of those. I remember. I know there was another night where Pillman was. These people kept irritating my son. He just picked up a chair and laced a couple people.
Oh wow.
But the one in the bathroom, I don't know.
Okay.
TitleMatchNetwork.com